Amazing. We're still getting some people getting situated. My name is Michelle Price, Vice President of Business Operations at TeamWork Online. Thank you all for joining us this is episode 19 of our Sports Business Speaker Series. Hard to believe it's been going this long. We're really excited. This is a really special episode for us here. We've got our friends over at Attitude, Effort, Results podcast, Tanner and Hunter, and they're going to lead us in a great panel discussion, but then an awesome and fun interactive workshop where you're going to get to work on real life marketing, like examples and projects and things that people really do at the team side, the org side, and get some real life experience here. So we're really excited to dive in. Before we do so, a couple of housekeeping items for you. One is, if you're in a spot to do so, we'd love to see you on camera, so please turn your videos on. But please stay on mute unless you're prompted to come off. We don't want to miss any of the insights from our hosts and our panelists. And then use the chat. We're going to use it in a bunch of ways today to be interactive, but also use it to get to know each other and introduce yourselves. Drop your LinkedIn, drop your TeamWork Online headline, who you are, where you're from, where you go to school, what are your interests in the sports business. This is all about growing our network, learning, and hopefully you come out of here with not just great takeaways about growing your career, but some new people to add to your network as well. So without further ado, really excited to turn over to Hunter and Tanner from Attitude, Efforts, Results podcast, and they're going to kick us off here.
Awesome. Well, welcome in, guys. Again, my name is Tanner Natsky. I'm going to share my screen here with you guys as we kick off today. All right, share this. Cool. So you guys have probably seen this graphic as this is where everything started. So this is what we have today. Our three professionals from the industry. We have a Major League Baseball, we have the event side, and we have college side. And the lights just dimmed off on me, so that's cool. We'll fix that later. That's okay. So here's what we're gonna do today. So today we're going to here's the objective for today. 3 things, right? Networking with high-level individuals. We're gonna learn diverse marketing experience, backgrounds, and strategies. And we're going to actively strategize. Today's going to be fun. It's going to be interactive. We're going to actively strategize with real life marketing processes and scenarios that these 3 professionals have built out for us. And how we're going to do that today, we're going to introduce each panelist. We're going to go through a brief Q&A for them so we get to understand who they are. And then we will actively walk through the event and then into the college and professional marketing strategies for you guys. Cool. Awesome. Introductions is where we're going to start. Hunter, I'm actually going to have you kick us off here as I turn these lights back on.
Fantastic. Well, welcome everybody. My name's Hunter Arbogast. I'm currently an account executive sales for Buffalo Bills and Legends, a new Highmark Stadium project. Grew up in small town Iowa, graduated high school with about 26 kids. So a testament of building a strong work ethic and networking can land you your dream job. So I definitely encourage you all to continue to do that. And really, really passionate about giving back and helping individuals within college and the sports industry. That's why Tanner and I started Attitude, Effort, Results podcast, and very grateful to be a part of that. So really, really excited to engage today, get to know everybody and see these processes brought to life.
I love it. Well, for me, again, Hunter and I are the least important people on this call, but I think it's important to start off with who we are as we're going to be talking. You guys obviously want to know who these crazy people up here talking. So my background, I grew up on a dairy farm. I think that's always fun. I'm a 6th generation dairy farmer, so I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do with my career. Who out there right now has no idea what they want to do? That's okay. That's why we're here. Yeah, Travis is like, I've been in this industry forever. I still don't know. That's why we're here. And so I think it's really cool just to see different backgrounds. For me, I started up in DC. I had no idea what I was going to do up there. Could have been the mascot, had no idea, but took an opportunity because of individuals and professors in my life. And then during COVID, worked with the New York Mets and the Milwaukee Bucks that summer through what is now virtual, which at the time we didn't really know how to work it all. But then went down to Miami, worked with the Dolphins, helped start the Formula One project down there, and then came over here to Phoenix. So I've been on the ticketing side, the sales side. Today we're going to dive deeper into marketing holistically. But again, for Hunter and I, that's who we are. That's why we are here. Transparently, I'm going to throw this up there. I don't care if you follow us at all, but I think it's important for you guys to know who we are and how to contact us specifically, Hunter and I. We just launched the Attitude Effort Results website on Monday, specifically for you and for this group today. But that's kind of who we are. So now we'll get into the real stuff, what you guys actually care about. We'll kick it off with Megan to start us off today.
Hi, everyone. I got my start kind of at the University of Arizona interning for the athletic department. My dream at that point in time was to work for Major League Baseball. I got in as an intern after a few years with the Angels and then worked my way up through various different entities. This job at the San Jose Sharks opened up and it was more focused on the arena side. So I was a part of the San Jose Sharks, but also working on everything non-hockey in the building. And it was fascinating to go from working on a season-long campaign to then breaking up every single event and then how many different audiences and demos you attract within one building, within one city, which then led me to Cirque du Soleil, where now instead of learning every single demo within my city, I'm going into every city and trying to match where my demo is within the city. And it's been extremely fascinating working on the West Coast shows right now with Kuza and Echo, but happy to be here.
Appreciate you, Megan. So on the event side, as we're bringing in that, now we'll kick it off to Kevin from the college side.
Yeah, hey everyone. Kevin Cassidy, currently Associate AD of Fan Experience and Revenue Generation here at Notre Dame. I've been here about a year. Got my start out of college, not working in sports. Worked at just a regular nonprofit marketing job that kind of quickly realized I wanted to do something that I was passionate about, work in marketing, doing on a subject matter that I was more excited about. So was lucky enough to get a job at Major League Baseball about 2 years after I got out of college. I was doing paid digital marketing on behalf of major league teams. Unfortunately, never had the chance to work with Travis at the Giants, but worked with many of his other counterparts on the league side. So really enjoyed that. Did that for about 5 years, and then was trying to just get out of New York and broaden my marketing knowledge, not just on paid digital, but some other different areas, including fan experience. And so went to LSU, worked there for 5 years, and managed all the paid digital, but also did email marketing, oversaw our mobile app, worked heavily on the website, in addition to working on the sidelines during athletics events, which then led to this job here at Notre Dame. Been here just over a year now. Originally just started doing solely marketing, but due to some staffing changes, I took over as the head of our fan experience department. So now I oversee all things football game day for football, in addition to all of my marketing background. So looking forward to talking to all of you today.
I love it. We'll go into Travis, who currently is with the Giants.
Yeah, thanks, Tanner. Very excited to be here today. I'm Travis LoDolce, Senior Director of Marketing and Advertising at the San Francisco Giants, coming to you from Oracle Park. I went to UC Santa Barbara for undergrad, graduated with a Black Studies degree. Much later in my life, I went back to school at LSU Shreveport and got my MBA. When I was about a year out of undergrad, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I sort of had this pipe dream of working in professional sports. It seemed very far away from sort of where I was. But I took a flyer and applied for jobs and worked my way into 2 part-time positions across the bay from each other, one for the A's, one for the Giants. That was the 2002 season. Giants went all the way to Game 7 of the World Series. A's won 20 consecutive games as depicted in the movie Moneyball. It was an amazing dream season, first season in professional sports. I thought every year is going to be like this. Every year was not like that. Still a lot of fun. The A's hired me on full time at the end of that season in the ticketing office, and I worked in ticketing for a number of years. Being in a small organization, I got to sort of tentacle out to a number of different areas. I eventually moved fully into marketing and worked my way up to director of marketing at the Oakland A's. Left there at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, started at the Giants, and I'm now senior director of marketing. Mostly what I oversee is our channel marketing. So you're talking everything from our traditional advertising, our digital advertising, and we rely heavily now on digital advertising. So it's a lot of creative and a lot of strategy and a lot of spend.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Hunter and I are going to fire off a couple questions for these three individuals, really questions based on what others have told us is important about the industry. And again, this is to provide value for you. Can do that here, but we'll kick it off with a couple different questions. The first one, and I'll direct this, obviously, ladies first, right? So I'll go right to Megan for this one. Tell me what the marketing strategies that are specific to your area, because the event side, I think when people think about marketing and advertising, a lot of them think team side right away. Tell us a little bit about those specific in your area, your region, and what is different on the event side.
Definitely. Back when I was at the Sharks, I kind of used to explain it as you kind of had your Live Nations and your AEGs of the world, that it's copy paste with the ad mat. They know what sells. You have the Paul McCartneys, the Elton Johns, the name where it really sells itself. Then you move into the family shows, which Cirque fits into with Disney on Ice. And it's more of a cheaper ticket. Your demo is usually female. And then you have the sports side, which is really narrowing in on everything sports from NCAA, anything governing body with gymnastics, figure skating, etc. And every single one of them has a very different approach to marketing. Some of it's the lead time for how long it's on sale. Sometimes it's gymnastics might be marketing nationwide, where you're having everyone visit because it's a one-time event for the Olympics, or you're going super granular into the city where you're relying on the team and the venue and doing in-game interactions or activations during the ice with Cirque du Soleil performers and just kind of getting nitty-gritty. So everything is really customized and catered to who your target fan is and what the event is. And going from a K-pop show to WWE, the Cirque is a wild experience, but you learn a lot about human behavior.
I love that. Well, Megan, I appreciate that. Going from the entertainment side, where it sounds like there's a lot of different markets and demographics that you're trying to figure out. Travis, tell us a little bit about yours, where it's been more a narrow pathway for you in baseball and out that way of the west part of the country too. But tell us a little bit about some of the marketing strategies that you're working with currently.
Yeah, I mean, moving from the A's to the Giants, Giants pull from a much larger area. Essentially, I'm going after 3 major DMAs in Northern California, making sure that we have a diverse amount of content, testing, more testing, abundance of testing, figuring out exactly what ignites each audience per channel. As I mentioned, like, we're relying heavily in the digital world. I can remember back, say, 12 years ago, sort of fighting for like 8% of the budget to be placed in the digital marketing world. Now it's close to 99% in the digital marketing world. So performance media is really where like the bread and butter is. 1, we can prove ROI. 2, we can make changes on the fly. It's just much easier and more robust for us. So trying to mine a lot of audiences. It's really easy to go after. It's sort of a tried and true Giants fan. There's many of them in this area. But really, like, we need to go after non-fans, periphery fans, people that don't yet know that they want to be a baseball fan or a Giants fan. So really trying to find, like, what is the key to unlock them? Is it ballpark experience? Is it just general entertainment? So doing a lot of testing in that space. And then we've also got all of our sort of, free areas, we call them free areas, like emails, making sure that like we've got a great, robust email campaign that goes out weekly, daily. We don't want to overwrought everybody on these lists that say it's okay for us to contact them, but we also want to be very thoughtful about what we're putting out there and pretty consistent as well. So spending a lot of time on strategy, a lot of time on content, and then really reviewing what's working, what's not, and making changes on the fly.
One of the coolest things that I've learned about the marketing sector from you guys throughout this process of bringing you guys here, but also in our profession, is you guys touch so many different departments, and you guys have a major impact on multiple departments across the entire organization. The crazy stat is going from what you were saying, fighting for 8% of a budget, to now 99 being digital. I mean, that's where the world is going today, and it's cool to see how in sports specifically, I think we adapt very quickly, and you have to adapting quickly. Obviously, in the college world with NIL and everything happening there is going very fast. Kevin, round us out here with this question before we let Hunter take it away for the next one.
Yeah, and we were right there on the front lines with Travis helping to fight for that increase in digital budget. So, as someone who's been on the other side of that table, completely agree. And it makes it easier for a transition for someone like myself who's used to being the one building all the campaigns that Travis and his crew are executing on. To have the knowledge and the insight to be able to help move the needle on a college space where we don't have the resources of a Major League Baseball where they have a lot of these digital teams housed internally and provided as a service to the league. So, for someone like myself, I'm kind of like a one-man show here to help do analytics, build and manage campaigns, and then overseeing a group of people who do the same kind of stuff that Travis talked about with running email marketing campaigns, working with the people who oversee our app to do push notifications, our traditional media, making sure that all of our messaging is integrated. The one unique thing about Notre Dame, though, is that we are truly a national brand. We have all 50 states have at least one active season ticket member for football. So we have fans who travel from, I think the average fan travels over 350 miles to come to one of our games. We're close to Chicago, but, South Bend is not a huge city by any means. So there's just a large contingent of people across the country who care about Notre Dame football, who are willing to come, from far and wide to make sure that they're a part of our game days. The other part of that too is we have 25 other sports. So, like Travis and Megan are kind of focusing on, Megan's got her stuff across the country. We're trying to sell not only football tickets, but we have 3 other ticketed sports, and then we have the rest are all non-ticketed. But those segments in our strategies really change based on which sport we're trying to promote. I think most people who pay attention to women's basketball right now knows that our team is doing extremely well, ranked inside the top 5, hyper local audience, completely different from a demographics or interests than if you compare it to our football audience. So there's a lot of nuance and strategy that has to go into marketing all these different sports, since they all have unique audiences that don't, some overlap, but some of them are completely unique. So it creates a different challenge for us. And during crossover season, it's you sell one sport and it's like, all right, well, what are you gonna do for this one? So keeps you busy for sure.
I love it. Well, I'm gonna let Hunter take the next one.
Yeah, I love this question because what Tanner and I do with Attitude Effort Results and tying it back to a lot of colleges that we speak with, I feel like one of the most common questions we get is if you could go back in time, what's one of the biggest pieces of advice that you could give your younger self? And I have to give a shout out to the University of Iowa class here that joined us because I love this question for him. And Tanner and I are proud Hawkeye graduates. So I have to give him a little plug there. Shout out Anna Jensen. But tying it back here, Megan, I'd love for you to tackle this first. If you could go back, we're most inclined to help the person we once were. What would be a big piece of advice you would give your younger self?
I've always struggled this question because it depends on where you are in your career and what kind of advice you wanted to hear at that point. Because when I wanted to work in college athletics and sports, what I really thought I should have done more in undergrad is get that direct marketing experience that I wanted. That would have made it easier for the Angels to say, oh, this is perfect. But it had me end up in the live entertainment area where I am now, given the path that I took. So it kind of depends how you want to answer the question. But I'm a big proponent of when you're in college, it's the one time that you have the opportunity to volunteer all the time, kind of. You have that network and you have opportunities always there and always around. When you come back home to a suburb area and you might not have a sports team that's close by, or the connections with the sports management association or what you have you don't really get those opportunities. So try and take the most of the time that you have to just kind of understand how you can get involved. And then marketing, as we've already mentioned, touches so many different parts of the industry. The more you learn about how it all works together, the more equipped you are for a marketing role, because you can see how their role fits within yours and yours fits with theirs. And it makes you a better marketer when you're able to look at it from the lens of operations, from finance, from processing invoices to getting your campaign done. Like right now, if I can't get $200,000 up front for a media buy for TV, I'm not going to be able to place the buy. So you really have to have an understanding of every single part of the business to really be successful.
Right. And I love you touching on one of the biggest things we preach is to get involved, right? So I love that because you can't fail if you're always moving forward. If you're always progressing, you can't fail. So that's a big piece of advice that definitely we need to take forward. Kevin, I'll have you kind of put your insight on this question as well before we kick it to the next one. But just something that maybe you could maybe not necessarily go back and redo, but just something that maybe helped elevate your career at a young age.
Yeah, so something I learned a lot about now that I'm in the college athletic space is that there's really if you specifically want to work in college athletics, there's a pretty common tried and true way to get in college athletics. And number one is to get involved while you're in undergrad. So most athletic departments from college are pretty understaffed in general. We have, I think, 25 student workers here in our fan experience department. We have three marketing undergraduate student workers in the marketing side. So every school needs help. And it's a great way to get some experience while you're an undergrad. Make some extra cash in the meantime too, but the experience will outweigh it. So most people who work in college athletics kind of start as an intern in their school's athletics department while they're an undergrad. And then after you finish your undergrad, most people then move to become a graduate assistant, where you can work for 2 years full time in an athletic department while you get your master's. And that school will, in lieu of a salary, they will pay for your education. So when I was at LSU, we had graduate assistants. We had four of them. Here at Notre Dame, they don't have a graduate assistant program, but most schools do. And then after you finish your graduate assistantship, then it's a natural fit to then come out of school and become an assistant director, which is really the entry level role in a college athletics department. So I wish that I had gotten involved when I was an undergrad. I think it would have helped me, even if I wanted to try and go the pro route, but just to get some experience in the sports world while I was already on a college campus that had athletic teams in session. So I wish I had done that. Kind of put myself a little bit behind the eight ball when I started out, but I think I heard the quote of like nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you're not willing to go out and do the work and do the networking and be on webinars like this, where hopefully you can leave here with something tangible that you can take and help get you closer to where you want to be. I think that's something I would have told myself as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's important that we tap into the resources that we already have, right? I think, especially for our undergraduate audience, sometimes we forget where our feet are. If we're working for or we're going to school at a major college, the opportunities, whether it's athletics department, operation, like whatever it may be, are right there in front of us. Sometimes we're almost ignorant or, ignorance is bliss, where we don't even know those opportunities are right there on our doorstep that can lead to a role as a TA, as a graduate, or even an entry level position in the sports world. So I appreciate that insight, Kevin. We'll kick it over to Tanner for the next question.
All right, we got this one and one more. We're going to crank through, and then we are going to have some active participation today. So if your hands aren't being ready to raise, start warming them up, ready to get rock and rolling with our three professionals today. We'll start with you, Travis, on this one. Like, how does one get into the marketing world, right? This marketing word that we use is used often, but there's so many different areas in ways that we can use marketing. How does one get into the marketing world within sports entertainment specifically, as that's why we're here today?
Yeah, I mean, I would say marketing departments. So like if you're looking at a marketing department for a professional sports team, tend to be somewhat small, maybe a little bit hard to get into. It's not impossible. But I would say get your foot in the door wherever you can. Like there's an abundance of jobs typically at sports organizations in ballpark operations, say, or stadium operations, in ticket sales, ticket services. I got my way in through ticket services. Work your way up. Sort of, it may not be your first job isn't your end goal. Like obviously, like get in somewhere, meet the right people. Don't be shy. As Megan said earlier, like get to know everybody in the organization, what they do. That'll really help define like what you want to do. What I wanted to ultimately do was in marketing, and I went that direction, and I was able to achieve that. So, find your way in. and find your role within that. There's certain things that I look for as a marketer. So when people apply directly to jobs in a marketing department, I look for, is there something about sports or entertainment that they have a background in? Doesn't need to be huge. It can be, as Kevin was saying, like working for their athletic department, just something that tells me that they have something of a passion for it, that they understand what it's like to work late nights or weekends or holidays, something along those lines, that there's a propensity for data and numbers. Can't work in marketing these days without understanding basic math skills and sort of what it takes to chop up some data, or at least how to ask the questions for those that do chop up that data. Your general story, like, do you have a unique story? What did you persevere through? I have a 10-year-old daughter. She's living a much easier life than I did when I was her age. And I'm always like, what does she need to persevere through to make her a better person later in life? And then, are there interests outside of sports that you're active in? So I always say, if you know every single taco truck and you can rate them 1 to 100 in the city of San Francisco, I want to know that. Because if you're so far into sports, you're only going to be talking to major sports fans. We need to reach all of those people on the outside and create that Venn diagram within the marketing department. So those are certain things that I look for when somebody's applying for a job. You nail all those, you might find your way in.
Can we clip that and spread it throughout all of social media? Like, that's a viral clip right there. That's great. Because it's real, where people come in and they're like, oh, what, how do I get in it? Boom, there it is. I love it. Megan, let us go to you for this one, and then we'll kick it to Hunter to go back to Kevin and Travis for the last one here.
I'll make it brief, but I think one thing I also look for is curiosity, because within marketing, within the testing world, like, you have no idea what's going to work sometimes and what's not. So you have to be curious to figure out kind of how you're going to reach the person. Or say you have 10 days left of a campaign and you're not hitting the sales that you need to. Just how can you really dive in and be curious of what's going to work? And then it helps you too, like on the psychology factor of figuring out what makes a person tick. And it also just makes you a better marketer. But then also being curious about everyone else. It's just the human aspect of marketing that I think a lot of people miss.
Love that. I appreciate you both. We'll go to Hunter for the last one.
Yeah, and Kevin, I'll have you tackle this first, and you've touched on a little bit with the previous question I asked, but what can students and young professionals do today to set themselves up for success in the future, whether that's breaking into the industry, whether that's developing personally, professionally, but what can they do starting today, actionable steps that can set them up for success?
Yeah, I think I definitely did cover most of it from the college space, like how to get into that world. But I think from the digital side, one thing that is great about, if you want to work on that performance marketing, paid digital marketing side of the business, is all of that stuff is available for free to be learned online. Meta Ads Manager has their own free courses that you could take and then take a certification, which costs like, I think it's like $200 or something like that. And then Google has their own certification for analytics, search engine marketing, display banner advertising, all that kind of stuff. So if you're a self-starter and someone who wants to gain those skills without having to sit in a formal classroom, which you certainly can do that as well. I know that there are options out there where people can teach you that in more of a traditional classroom setting. But if you're someone who just likes to dig into something, take a hold of it, and teach it to yourself on your own time, you can absolutely do that. And once you have those certifications, that can convey to somebody who's looking to hire for those types of roles that you know what you're talking about, and that you're someone who's shown the initiative to go out and learn it yourself. So I think that's one thing that, again, if you are somebody who can learn that way and wants to just dive in and gain a new skill, that's a great route to go as well.
No, I love that insight. I'm a big proponent of controlling what you can control and taking initiative and matters into your own hands. So I think definitely with technology we have today, that's fantastic advice. Travis, go ahead, round us out here before we get into our active learning here. But just one thing that maybe these individuals, students, young professionals can do to set themselves up for success in the future.
Network, it's all right there for you. I didn't have it when I was getting into the industry. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know who worked at a major league team. I didn't know who worked in professional sports. It's all right there. It's all on LinkedIn. Clubhouse sets it up. You can book time with professionals. Very easy. Like, I wish that sort of stuff existed when I was trying to break into professional sports. Continue to learn. I'm going to throw out a few other ones. Continue to learn. Like, you may feel like you got it nailed. Nope, you don't. Keep learning. I'm always still learning. I'm 25 years into this business. There's still stuff that I'm always trying to learn, brand new. The channels, the ability to outreach, all of the processes that we have constantly evolving. You have to evolve with it. Stay humble for that reason, because you may feel like you know it all and you may be really good and you develop this amazing intuition, but there's always new stuff for you to sort of learn and figure out. And then if you can, especially as a young person breaking into the industry, if you can find somebody that takes a shine to you and wants to mentor you in some way, lean into that heavily, because it is so hard. I had that. A gentleman named Steve Finelli hired me at the A's. He's now a VP at the A's. He joined the Giants for a while too. Amazing individual. Did more for my career than anybody else, and has really been a confidant and somebody that I can rely on over the years. Great advice. And like, my ability to go to him with questions and feedback and all of that sort of stuff has been a lifesaver. Find that person for yourself if you can.
No, I love that. It's very well said. I think there's, you know, recipe for success is already out there, right? And if you can find a mentor, I know Tanner and I have been blessed with great mentors in our young careers, and that's something that definitely shouldn't be taken for granted. So I appreciate you rounding us out there, Travis.
I love it. All right. Well, today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to actively learn. We are going to throw 3 situations at you. And I want everybody to start turning their thinking caps on. And so we're going to go through 3 situations, obviously from each of their professions. And we're going to have you with either, if you're University of Iowa and together, think together as a group. If you're individually, just think obviously individually, put it down on a piece of paper, your thoughts and what you would do in situations like this. So we're going to start with Megan here again. Obviously, ladies first, as always. One thing here, this is not how you're supposed to create a PowerPoint slide, okay? There's a 5x5 rule. We don't want all these words on the screen. However, this was all me, so you guys can blame me for it. I think it's important to get all these words on there so we can understand the situation. But if you're in school or professionals, like, don't submit this PowerPoint to any of your employers. All right, Megan, I'll kind of let you kick it off here, explain a little bit of the background, and then obviously what the question that we can be pondering and working through today is.
Perfect. So I had the opportunity to work on Kuza, which has been a show touring for at least the last decade. And it was the first time that it was returning to the Santa Monica Pier in 10 years. Basically, Cirque du Soleil in 1987 had enough money to get themselves to California for a big top show and not enough money to return back to Montreal. So LA had to be a success. So everybody in leadership just wanted to make sure Santa Monica had a very lofty goal and we were going to get as close to it as possible. So the show opened in October and ran through January. And sales were a bit slow given the state of the economy and everything that's happening and just how kind of busy and crowded the Los Angeles market can be with so much going on, from live entertainment to sports to you name it. So we got creative and we made a 4-week campaign. And you'll learn within marketing, and we've already kind of touched on it with emails, you can't hit the same people 4 times in 4 weeks in a row, otherwise they're going to unsubscribe and they don't want to hear from you anymore. So we really wanted to increase the volume and then work on digital, which is a huge proponent of our campaigns. It should also be mentioned, on top of every market, we do a TV buy, we do a radio buy, we do out of home. We look at the heat map and we see where our buyers were the last time we were in market. And we kind of be strategic of where we're going to spend our efforts and who is most likely going to buy our tickets. So for the first week, we targeted couples. We knew that we looked at our previous data and we found how many people had bought in just 2 tickets to see our shows in LA. So we created a campaign about the 1987 and played on the words for all 4 of them. So we hit couples first. We knew family is a huge proponent of our demographic. A lot of moms like to bring their children to the shows because it can be considered a family show. Some of the Vegas shows are not considered family shows, but on the touring side, we're more lucky with the family show audience. And then we went broad to make sure we hit the entire database with an offer for 37% off because it had been 37 years since we performed in Santa Monica. And then we knew that a lot of people will get the emails, but they won't necessarily open it. So we retargeted all of those people who didn't engage to do another offer with best seats for $87 total. And this we found was a way to go strong after 4 different audiences and see how we can kind of test an A/B test with which offer would perform better if we were ever going to do it again. Which leads to then to the question of since our audiences are usually female, age 25 to 45, a lot of the times we're in a market, we'll do a date night offer and we'll do a family night offer, and those can be better performing depending on where we are. For example, Orange County is very much so suburban area, so there's a lot of families, a lot of high income. So if you guys were going to come up with a strategy for a date night and try and target people to buy 2 tickets, what kind of strategies or offers or kind of mindset would you be doing to try and reach these people to sell tickets for a date night? And I think we want you guys to put it in the comments, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you guys could, again, Iowa, you guys are there as a class. Take a minute or so and think about that. But then, yeah, if you guys could be putting it in the chat of, again, how do you promote ticket sales as a date night offer there in Orange County?
And to add to that too, a lot of it, on the brand side, one of the cool things we have versus on the arena side when you're working with Live Nation is you can control the narrative of what the copy says, what the artwork is. So you can really look at the pieces within the show that you have and utilize that to sell it. So if there's an act where like Kuza has 2 people on a unicycle and it's very coupley looking, so we're able to use that image from the show in our art and use that to kind of paint the picture. So you kind of see also Kuza has a skeleton dance. So we were able to turn a Halloween offer by utilizing part of our show. So you can kind of see what you have and then get creative with what you do have to make it work for the time of year. But yeah, billboards definitely. So billboards for offers, a lot of the times you can either, if you have a digital billboard, it's a lot easier to kind of switch the creative. Where if you're doing a vinyl creative, you're kind of stuck with what you got for as many weeks as you're going to run it, and it's expensive to reproduce. So you really only look at billboards if you have digital billboards where you can turn it in 24 hours notice. Social media is always part of it. I think we're spending about 50% of our budget now on digital, which contains Meta, Google, display. We'll work with local newspapers and get display ads on there natively, so we're not going around and competing with everybody else. And then a lot of it's CRM too, which is our email database, which I mentioned with the segmentation. But definitely influencers. We'll find influencers that are mommy blogs, and we'll have them either take them to a date night where we feed them the information, and then they make a video in their own voice. And then if we have an offer attached to it, we'll make sure that they present it within their caption or their link in the bio. Or we'll partner with different other organizations. And 5 years ago, you could have a lot of relationships where you'd be able to have someone plug in an email for free. Now everyone's most likely making you pay for it. So you also have to look at your budget and kind of make sure that you're spending your money in the right areas that you want to spend. Because you have to value, if $5,000 for an email hitting 10,000 people, you might sell 5 tickets. It's probably not going to be in your best interest. So you have to get creative there too. But that's pretty much it. But these are all good ideas. But just you have to be creative of the way you're doing it, how you're doing it, when it's running, and who you're reaching.
I love it. Well, hey, great work. Again, this is a thought-provoking exercise for everybody. So this is scenario number 1. We're going to jump into 2. If you guys are still pondering that one, again, as we start the next one, again, throw it in the chat. We want this to be interactive for you guys. Travis actually said it earlier, networking, right? You guys are going to work for and with some of the people that are not us on this chat, right? You're going to work for and with some of the other college and young professionals in this chat right now. So get to know everybody, and there might be some ideas sparked for different campaigns that you guys are currently working on in this chat right now. So keep sending it in there as we kind of roll into scenario number 2 here. We're going to work towards the, if I can get my screen to go. the second one into the college sector. So we'll have Kevin take it away here.
Yeah, so since 2009, Notre Dame, like I kind of talked about before, being a pretty national brand in terms of our reach and our fans, um, since 2009, started playing one of our home games in a different part of the country and even internationally. So we played a home game basically last year at Yankee Stadium. In years past, we've done Fenway Park. We've done Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. We even did 2 years ago in Dublin, Ireland. And then in 2026, we're going to be playing in Lambeau Field in where the Packers play. So for us, from a marketing standpoint, our challenge, we basically know every year, every other year, we are going to have to sell out a home game in a completely different part of the country where we do not typically play. So our big question really is, what is the best way for us to go out and identify people who might be Notre Dame fans, whether or not they have or have not come to a game before? How do we find people who are within a reasonable driving distance or travel area to be able to make sure that financially this is a successful game and it's sold out and we've got a great atmosphere there and it doesn't feel like a neutral site game. It feels more authentically like an actual Notre Dame home game, and which helps because our staff actually is the ones who run the game. So our normal show caller, myself, our band, all of the elements are present. It's just not in our inside Notre Dame stadium. So I'm going to read through the chat to just kind of see what people have been saying. Yeah, Rudy is is one thing that is always referenced. If you ever come to Notre Dame Stadium in the off season, the Rudy music is always playing through the speakers. So you kind of feel like you're transported back into that time. But I think this is where Facebook and Meta, Instagram, all that kind of stuff really helps because you can actually segment based on interest. So going out there and looking for people who follow Notre Dame accounts, people who follow or are interested in the movie Rudy, maybe, or people who are alumni in the area. Green Bay is not too far from some larger cities like Milwaukee, Chicago, stuff like that. So it's possible to be able to find some people who are interested in things like that who would be within a reasonable driving distance for sure. So yeah, I know someone had mentioned the targeted ads, definitely a huge piece of this. Local news station plugs. Yeah, so our comms team works pretty closely with a bunch of different media outlets to make sure that when these games are announced, which is usually multiple years in advance, it helps to create that expectation and then gives people a lot of time to be able to figure out their travel plans or kind of mark it on their calendar. It's not something we're going to announce in April and then go play in October, so making sure that the word spreads wherever we are playing definitely helps. Yeah, alumni database is huge. So playing in New York was great this past year because there's a very active alumni club. There are a lot of people in the New York area who are alumni who actually travel out for games. But then on the flip side too, we have a lot of people who maybe live locally who don't go to New York often and want to use it as an opportunity to go make a trip out of it to New York City. It was the weekend before Thanksgiving, so maybe people have family in the area and they can turn it into a larger scale trip. So that's part of it too. Reading through some more here. Yeah, events and meetups. Yeah, so we kind of take over whatever city we go to. So there's more around just the game itself. We had a band do some concerts, one in Times Square, one in Central Park. We rented out the Rockefeller skating rink for a couple hours and had a skate there with high-level donors and alumni and staff and all that kind of stuff. So we try to make sure that wherever these games are held, we are extremely present throughout the city. So, we had billboards running along the interstate leading into the Lincoln Tunnel, stuff like that, just to kind of make sure fans know, hey, Notre Dame's here. We're kind of the same way we're taking over a stadium for a weekend. We're trying to take over the city as well for that weekend. So a lot of good ideas, a lot of things here that we definitely did when we've had these games, and look forward to that next challenge in 2026 when we play at Lambeau.
I love it. Well, as you guys keep doing, I was reading through some of these. I mean, again, I'm not in marketing specifically, but marketing directly affects sales on the premium side of the business. Like, how can we get high dollar accounts in the building, whether those are people or businesses? These ideas are absolutely phenomenal. I'm loving this. I'm loving this a lot. Also, Kevin, I'm happily will accept your offer to go to Lambeau to watch Notre Dame. So I appreciate that as well, as that's my hometown. So
We got one ticket sold then, is what you're saying, at least.
yeah, we got one
One
sold,
down.
and it's probably from one of these, one of the ideas that were put in chat that you guys subconsciously have put into my brain. So, that's good. Awesome. Well, keep throwing them in there. I'm loving seeing some of these, and you guys are commenting on each other's, which are great. Continue to communicate with each other and kind of make this a forum. Let's roll to our third scenario here, and as we kick it over to Travis, as he has a couple questions with the Giants here.
Yeah, so this is a current situation that we're experiencing. We have a ball player named Jung-Hoo Lee. He was a major free agent signing prior to last season. He was a South Korean KBO baseball player, former MVP, second generation. His father was known for speed. He was a former MVP of Korean baseball as well, and also played in the Japanese leagues. His father was known as Son of the Wind because he was so fast. Jung-Hoo Lee, the son, our baseball player, is known as Grandson of the Wind because he has the same quick speed on the base paths and in the outfield. He got injured about 35 games into last season, so we got a brief glimpse of him, and then he was out for the rest of the season with a separated shoulder. He's back. He's on the playing field. He's playing awesome in spring training. Anything that we post with him goes really viral. Goes viral locally, goes viral in South Korea. So we have this like worldwide outreach to him now. One of the things that we developed for this season, and we sent live just recently, a new product called the Jung-Hoo Crew. And basically for Friday through Sunday games, you can sit behind Jung-Hoo Lee in a center field position. So Jung-Hoo Crew in section 142. And you can get a Jung-Hoo Lee t-shirt. So it's basically a rally section for one of our most popular players. The t-shirt is like his big face, and it says Jung-Hoo Crew, and his glasses in his mouth. It's on sale. We put everything on sale. Nobody quite knows how to react to it, though, because it is brand new. You can conceptualize a rallying section for a player, but you haven't seen it live yet. So really just the diehard Giants fans, the diehard Jung-Hoo Lee fans are buying this section, but we want to sell out immediately, of course. We're not quite there yet. Who we're targeting, we're going after youth and families, feeling like, energetic, young, sort of atmosphere out there. Families, weekends might really vibe with the area. Young professionals, Friday nights in our outfield at Giants games at Oracle Park. It's a vibe. It's a lot of high school students, younger college students are coming out. They're out there drinking beers, not the high school students, the college students. But we feel like this would work very well for that sort of same vibe. They might really get behind this area and feel like it's a lot of fun. And then Korean interest and affinity. So not just local Koreans, of which there are many in the Bay Area, but also, K-pop is huge, and, Netflix shows, tapping into the Korean community or Korean interests are huge. So tapping into that sort of affinity and trying to sell them on our Korean baseball player becomes worthwhile. So basically, what do you think? How can we best reach these buyers? What tactics and messaging can we employ to entice potential buyers? And since this is a new project, a new product, how can we entice buyers prior to the start of the season before they actually see it live and in person at a game? What do you got? All right, I saw a few things come in. Targeting Korean community.
Since this is active, Travis, I think you're gonna cut a commission check to the best idea once it sells out, right? I think that was
I'll send them a free t-shirt. How about that? Anything we use. Targeting Korean. South Korean baseball jersey must be pretty popular. I'm sure it would be given within budget to do a giveaway. Yeah, I mean, the t-shirt itself is semi-expensive, and we've baked that into the price. But great idea. Maybe there's a potential giveaway in there for like one lucky fan every game. throw balls, warm ups with the kid. That's a great idea. Yeah, have him really interact with the space. It's one thing to show the space once those games are there, but man, anytime a ball player is playing catch with a fan in the stands, that would be a great selling tool. I really love that. We'll see if we can make that happen in season. You can host an event at the stadium, target the Korean community. We do have a Korean Heritage Night. That is something that we have in season. So certainly that, and it's something that happens annually. So that is a community that we're trying to sell into this space too, in addition to that very specific night that we have every year. What else? Let's see. I'm going to jump around here. Have one lucky buyer get a signed item from him. Yep, I love that idea. Any Korean restaurants in the area to partner with? Yeah, that's a great idea. We certainly do have a number of Korean restaurants, and even just like flyers inside those restaurants might work really well.
I
There's so
love all
much good
these
stuff here.
ideas.
Yeah. Work with tourism groups. Yeah, we ran a tourism campaign last year on Meta and Google properties. We started with just the United States. We actually added in South Korea very early, and it proved to be really worthwhile. And even after Jung-Hoo Lee got injured, we just kept it running, and it still had a great return on ad spend. So we're setting that up again for this year, both nationally and South Korea, and developing ads specifically with him for South Korea. What are his interests? That's an interesting one. In general, outside of baseball, the game itself on the field and sort of the great atmosphere at Oracle Park, there are areas that we're trying to lean into. Music is one. We're having some post-game concerts this year. We have an in-ballpark DJ every game. Video games are big. We're doing a Pokemon Go night this year. Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be a sponsor this year. Our players obviously love playing video games. I think that's something Jung-Hoo Lee likes. So sort of interweaving him with that, I think is a great idea. Have himself post about the opportunity. Yeah, we were down in spring training for a couple weeks, and we got video of him wearing the shirt. And actually, we filmed one little piece with him where he's just giving thumbs up and sort of stuff like that. And then through his interpreter, we were done. We were wrapped. He was like, no, actually, he would like to shoot more. It feels like he can do even more in this T-shirt. And he knows that this is something that is throughout the year. So he wants to give you an extra effort. So he was saying, let's go, Jung-Hoo crew. So he was talking directly into the camera, wearing his T-shirt. So we're going to clip that off and serve it in digital spaces soon. Need a call to action. You know, I'll finish here. Need a call to action. Make them feel like they're saving money by purchasing in that section. Maybe discount of purchase. Yep. 51% discount is jersey number. Look at you, Luke Hammonds, looking up Jung-Hoo Lee, doing the research. Good stuff. This is great.
I love it. I love it. Well, awesome work, guys. This is incredible. Hopefully it's active. It's interactive with you guys. It's interactive with us. We do have 7 minutes here. So I do want to kick it to our 3 people that we brought on. Anything that we missed, obviously real briefly, give me the spark notes. Anything that we missed that you think is going to be impactful to everybody watching today. Megan, I'll kick it back to you again, ladies first. We'll kick it back to you. Like, what did I miss? What did Hunter miss? What did we miss as a whole? Or how can you provide value in a spark notes version to everybody listening before we jump off in 7 minutes?
I think one of the things I probably didn't touch the most on is how targeted you can get with segmentation. On digital, we've kind of talked about it, but it's very interesting on the touring side because right now I have shows on sale in San Francisco and San Jose, and it's the same DMA. So you have one TV station trying to figure out how you're going to sell San Jose, but also not jeopardize San Francisco, because they can be the same buyers, but a lot of times they're not the same buyers. It just depends on where they're going to buy and what they're doing in that time period. So a lot of it is just trying to also figure out how you don't cannibalize yourself, but then also being strategic of when you're going to target both and when you're going to segmentate only the people that you want to. Digital is the easiest way to do so. because on Facebook and everywhere, you're able to hit a radius and say you only want to target 20 miles out or 30 miles out, and just being very cognizant. And then you use TV and radio as kind of your mainstream, just for people to kind of not lose the message and have it stay top of mind. And then digital is where you be like, buy now. I'm going to be really annoying on Instagram every single day until you buy my ticket.
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate you. Kevin, what do you got on our Spark Notes? What do we miss for him?
Yeah, I think one thing that's important, even if you're a kind of a novice or in marketing, or you're just kind of getting your start, or you're not even in college yet, or maybe you're going in college right now, is to realize that maybe you don't have the technical knowledge right now, but you have a lot to offer, especially to people like myself, who I've been out of college for 13 years now. So, but know that people like myself, Travis, Megan, we're trying to appeal and market to your segment, and odds are I'm probably not listening to or interacting with or watching the same things that you guys are, or maybe I'm not up on the latest trends, or growing up when I was in high school, college, like Facebook was number one, and now I would guess most people who are in college, recent college graduates or younger, don't have a Facebook. So people like myself have to adapt to the interests of what this generation is interacting with, where they are. But I think we all know TikTok's a big thing for the younger generation. So just know that, again, even if you don't feel like maybe you have the robust marketing knowledge right now to maybe be able to take and run with this massive nationwide campaign, you have information that can help inform decision makers above you. So just know that, you have more to offer than maybe you might even realize, because again, I'm not running Facebook campaigns trying to target 18 to 21-year-olds right now. That's just not going to be a fruitful endeavor. So, I think just even understanding yourself, your generation, and where people are really engaging with content and what the latest trends are is something that provides a ton of value, especially for people who like myself. So
I love it. Travis, what do we miss?
No swings and misses, but I will double down on the importance of data in marketing. You cannot get away as a marketer these days without understanding numbers. You yourself don't have to do all of that analyzation. Like, I have an analyst on my team. I'm good at it. He's great at it. I turn to him. I ask the questions. I know what questions to ask. I know what strategy I'd like to employ. It's up to him to tell me, yep, that's on point. Nope, let's go a different direction. But understanding it, understanding what to ask, understanding where it lives, understanding how to chop it up, understanding how best to use it, testing, all of that becomes uber important. So if you feel like numbers, math's not really my strong suit, get better at it. You can always get better at it. You can always learn. You don't have to be phenomenal at it, but learn enough to know what to ask an analyst so that you can be better at the job that you're trying to do.
I love it. Well, hopefully we were able to provide value for you guys today. We're here for you. I just saw Megan put in the chat. She helps with a podcast called Adventures in Venue Land. So that's an awesome resource as well. Obviously, I'm going to plug Attitude Effort Results podcast, as we have roughly 80, 85 episodes on there where we help young individuals get into the sports industry as well. So we have some resources for you. Hopefully today was a lot of knowledge, but today means nothing if you go and do nothing after. Right? Today meant nothing if you go and do nothing after. So use this as actionable steps. Go continue to create a career path for you. Hunter, I'll let you round us out and send us home.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for everybody who joined here, especially Megan, Travis, Kevin, valuing their time, and everybody who was able to join us, for being interactive in the chat. This is for you guys, right? We're very grateful for TeamWork Online and their platform that provides us an avenue to do this. So really appreciative for everybody who's here today, value their time with us. Like Tanner said, make something of today. Even if you just took one piece of information away from it, it's better than nothing at all. Connect with somebody, ask them for a coffee, ask them for a 15-minute call, and continue to grow.
Let's do it. Well, have a great one, guys. Appreciate you all.